Mr. Speaker, it is with tremendous honor, excitement, and humility that I rise to the floor of this great chamber to represent the aspirations and hardworking values of Illinois' 10th Congressional District, Chicago's north and northwest suburbs. Let me begin by expressing our thoughts and prayers remain with Congresswoman Giffords as she undergoes her recovery. My heart goes out to her and her family, along with the other families whose lives have been changed by this tragedy in Tucson on January 8th. Tonight, I am here to continue the tradition of this congressional seat by delivering a speech that lays out how I intend to legislate and explains the manner in which I will work with my colleagues to move this country forward. Over the past 18 months, I have traveled all over our great district, trying to ask people what keeps them up at night. Stretching from Wilmette to Waukegan, Libertyville to Glenview, Highland Park to Palatine, I am fortunate to represent a congressional district that encompasses a diverse community that asks its political leaders to tackle a wide-ranging, ambitious agenda. And from all conversations I've had at train stations, in town centers, at countless small businesses, in diners and in town hall meetings, there's one thing I know. The 112th Congress must focus on jobs and the economy, on reining in the out-of-control spending here in Washington, and to make sure that our country remains safe and free. Beyond talking with members of my community, I also took the time to study the heritage of the congressional seat representing the people of Northern Cook and Eastern Lake counties. Beginning with our first representative, John McLean, upon Illinois' founding statehood in 1818. Ours is an area that has always demanded a high standard of leadership, a commitment to local issues, and yet an eye towards American leadership in the world. Our community is bound by deep-rooted characteristics, namely a desire for pragmatic, effective leadership, vigorous independence, and the ability to work with the other side of the aisle in a civilized and bipartisan manner. These are the virtues that I pledge to continue in Congress as I begin my service to the people of the 10th Congressional District. In looking at the work of my predecessors, I have come across a number of individuals who served our area in the highest tradition of public service, with a commitment to the greater good. Tonight, I would like to take a moment to speak about a few of them. The first woman to represent Northeastern Illinois in Congress did so with remarkable distinction, skill, and effectiveness. Marguerite Stitt Church took to Congress in 1949, succeeding her late husband, Congressman Ralph Church. She served until 1962, promoting fiscal restraint, equal pay for women, and civil rights initiatives. She held a healthy disdain for the extravagant federal spending, which we can all certainly appreciate today. And foreshadowing the men who would follow her, Marguerite Church encouraged democratic reforms abroad from her position on the Committee on Foreign Affairs. Mrs. Church retired in 1963, only to be succeeded in the 88th Congress by a man who also took to causes of fiscal conservatism and American leadership in the world, Donald Rumsfeld. The people of Northeastern Illinois elected Secretary Rumsfeld, a fellow New Trier High School graduate, to Congress at the young age of 30. From 1963 to 1969, he served our area with great distinction. He had a spot on the Joint Economic Committee, and during perhaps the most critical time in the development of our space program, he sat on the House Committee on Science and Aeronautics. As many know, his tenure in Congress was just the beginning of a long career in public service. 10 years later saw the beginning of another incredible career devoted to public service. For 21 years, John Porter served the people of the 10th District. In that time, he made his great mark on both at home and abroad. Serving on the Appropriations Committee as the chairman of the Subcommittee on Labor, Health and Human Services and Education, John Porter achieved a record of tremendous legislative success, reflecting on the values of his district. He advocated for scientific funding and advancements in healthcare research, displayed a commitment to the environment, championed a strong respect for the taxpayer, and set a standard for high-quality constituent service. John Porter also recorded impressive accomplishment in the areas of foreign policy. After a trip to the Soviet Union, he founded the Congressional Human Rights Caucus. This led to him help free refuseniks in Russia, fight for the rights of North Korean refugees, and work for the religious freedom in China. I am honored and fortunate to have Congressman Porter's support and valuable mentorship as I begin my career in this body. For the past decade, and following in Congressman Porter's footsteps, the people of the 10th Congressional District have been tremendously fortunate to enjoy the representation of Mark Kirk. In Congress, Mark Kirk set the standard for thoughtful, independent leadership, and his centrist pragmatism mirrored the values of our district. His success is no secret to me, nor anyone who followed his career. Mark Kirk worked tirelessly in all areas of our district. The Illinois 10th Congressional District is a unique area that demands sensible, independent leadership. Congressman Kirk knew the people, he knew their concerns, and perhaps most importantly, he knew how to translate that into action and legislative successes. To look at his record of accomplishments in the areas of foreign policy, defense, environmental protection, human rights, transportation, and on the economy is to see a representative who knows what his constituents value most. His record as a fiscal conservative and a social moderate, his desire to reach across the aisle in search of the best ideas, these are the qualities that I hope to carry forward as I begin my career in public service to the people of the 10th District. I am honored and fortunate to call now Senator Kirk a close friend, a valued mentor. We are comforted by the fact that Senator Kirk continues to represent the state of Illinois and all Americans in the United States Senate. Communities of northern Cook and eastern Lake counties are privileged to share his talents with the rest of the state and the country. Like Congressman Porter and Congressman Kirk, I too will represent our independent-minded congressional district by working in a bipartisan fashion, by listening to all people for the best ideas, and by governing in a pragmatic, sensible manner. The American people demand solutions, and I will always remember that all of us are here to improve the lives of all Americans. While we can and should disagree at times, I am committed to the principles of open debate, the free exchange of ideas, and to charitably interpreting and considering other positions, all with a common objective: improving the lives of America. To that end, I will be a strong and independent fiscal conservative and social moderate. That, I believe, matches our community's values, and so accurately and valuably represented before me by Congressman Porter and Congressman Kirk. I ran for Congress because I wanted to get this nation back to work. To me, that centers on three things: jobs and jump-starting the economy, reining in the out-of-control spending here in Washington, and making sure that our country remains safe and free. Our first priority in this Congress must be to help ensure that the best conditions exist to create good jobs, high-paying and secure jobs for all people across this country, and to preserve those that already exist. It's jobs first and foremost. As I've so often been reminded, the unemployment rate nationally is 9.4%. In Illinois, it's even higher. And in certain communities within the 10th District, the unemployment rate is higher than 20%. To me, this is simply unacceptable, which is why I will highlight, strengthen, and support those local institutions that provide critical job skills training to the unemployed. On a more fundamental level, however, we need laser-like focus on job creation. This means establishing certainty across America for employers, keeping taxes low, maintaining vigorous oversight on federal regulations, and expanding opportunities so that businessmen and women can do what they were meant to do: to innovate, to prosper, to grow, to invest, and to hire. We need to ensure that the federal government is not making it more difficult and more costly for businesses to put the key in the door and open up their businesses each and every day. As a small business owner myself, I am here as part of a wave of people who know firsthand